So we'll finish up a couple of things here about parenting and then talk specifically about adolescence. Some common parenting mistakes. Again, this is something that I think is just really hands-on and useful for parents if we can help them see that this kind of stuff is counterproductive and really doesn't help anybody. First thing we've already mentioned, getting rid of the idea that discipline equals punishment. Discipline is a broad idea of how we teach our kids how to act and how to behave. Punishment is one tiny aspect, actually probably the least effective aspect of discipline. A second parenting mistake is to think that because this is how it was done to me, that means it's good. People say this all the time. Well, that's how I was raised, so it must be okay. Well, first of all, it's always debatable whether or not we're actually okay. But you don't have to live very long to understand that contexts change. The world that I grew up in was not the same world that my kids grew up in. The world that you grow up in is not the same world that your kids live in. You can't apply all of the same exact rules all the time. It's one of the things that I think it's kind of really problematic sometimes with kind of conservative Christian parents, because one of the things behind that sometimes, or that comes with it, is that we've got to resist all this, resist the idea of conforming to the culture, and resist the idea of letting the world change us somehow. Well, that's true to a certain extent. However, you know, kids who are born this year are going to grow up in a world where the technology by itself is enormously different than the technology was 15 years ago. So to think that you can parent the same way and make the same choices and make the same rules and make the same decisions for kids is just ridiculous. You have to adapt. You have to, and that's the way I would talk about it. I would say it's not about conforming to the culture, because God knows we think that's evil. It's about adapting to things that have changed, because things have changed. And we could say, well, we need to hold on to the same ideas of the family. That may be true, but our families live in different situations than they did 20 years ago. We have to know that. Third problem, the little adult fallacy. Too many times parents treat their kids like they're just small adults. And that's an enormous problem. And you know that, and you probably read some of that in the Glenn book, that idea of I'm just going to treat my child as if they're a small adult. It just doesn't work. They don't think the same way. Their cognitions aren't the same. Their brain is not developed the same. Not to mention, they just haven't had the experience. So we have to learn and help parents learn to treat children like children, not like small adults. Number 4, too much talking. This is something that somebody like me is terribly, terribly guilty of. I talk too much. I always talk too much to my kids. When there was a problem or an issue, I would go over it and over it and over it and over it till they were just sick of me. We have to remember that being a parent is just like being any kind of person that our children might like or respond to well. Listening works better than talking. So parents are, especially parents like me, really prone to give long lectures. Not a good idea. Number 5, too much emotion. We let our kids make us angry. We let our kids make us too frustrated. We let the situation make us angry. We parent out of emotion. We make decisions out of emotion. We're going to make huge mistakes. We need to help people understand that if there is an emotional situation, the best possible thing they can do is back away, wait till the emotion subsides a little bit, and then make parenting decisions and choices, particularly if you're prone to use punishment like spanking. Wait till the emotions die down a little bit. Spanking a kid when you're angry is just hitting a kid. That's all it is. And you can never convince me that it's anything otherwise. If I got frustrated with one of you people in the class and I decided you're not doing what I want you to do, so I'm going to, and I'm getting angry, so I'm going to hit you, that would be assault and I would go to jail. And yet we think we can do that to a kid and call it good Christian discipline. It's hitting. Hitting a kid when you're angry is hitting a kid when you're angry. Let's not kid ourselves about that. One of the ways that we control that is by trying to help people learn to take the emotion out of parenting, particularly out of punishment. Number 6, the tyranny of minutia. Let the little things go. Parenting has to be a place where you let the little things go. You know, if you got a 15-year-old kid and he's a pretty good kid and he makes decent grades and he's not causing you trouble and he comes home with a purple stripe through the front of his hair, that's not the kind of thing that we need to just go insane about. We may not like it, but we need to be able to say, it's a purple stripe in his hair. If he's being a good kid and he's making good grades and he's doing what he's supposed to do and he's basically respectful to me, then I need to just grin and say, nice hair, and go on. If I want him to get rid of the purple stripe, that's the best way to do it, is to tell him how much I like it. Then he'll hate it. He'll go change it. But if I throw a fit because he did something to his hair or because he got something pierced, I may not like it, but if I throw a fit over that, then what am I going to do if he does something really bad? What am I going to do if he does make really serious life decisions? You got to save your arguments and your correction and all of that stuff. Save it for the big stuff. Let the little things go. If your kid doesn't dress like you want him to dress, who cares? He'll get over it. He'll quit. At some point, we all get over that. I fought with my dad about the length of my hair back in the 60s and the 70s all the time. You need a haircut. I'm not getting a haircut. You need to get a haircut. You look like a girl. I don't want to get a haircut. On and on and on. What difference did it make how long my hair was? None. The truth is, I got over it. I cut my hair because we all do that. Don't get wound up about tiny little picky things. Number 7, one-size-fits-all parenting. Never works. Kids are all different. We know they're all different. If you have 2 kids, they will be different. You have to parent them differently. Can you use the same principles? Yes. Can you do it the same way? No. Different kids require different things. The reason we do the one-size-fits-all parenting is because it's easy and we're lazy. You have to work hard. You have to put forth effort. That means doing what each child needs. Number 8, inconsistency. No one's consistent. It's really hard to be consistent, but we got to try, because inconsistency as parents blows up everything that we try to do. So you got to work hard to be consistent. Number 9, bad modeling. We get onto our kids for being disrespectful, and then we're disrespectful to someone else. Or if we tell our kids not to lie, and then they hear us lie to somebody over the telephone. If we tell our kids to be, to be responsible with their money, and then we do something stupid and irresponsible with our money, that's just silly. That's part of discipline. And we can't complain about the way they behave if they behave the way we behave. Number 10, giving up. Sometimes parents just quit. They think, oh, peer pressure is too much, or the world is just too hard, or it's just an uphill battle, and they quit. Don't ever quit. Don't ever quit on your kids. Never, 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 ever. Do we have to change tactics sometimes? Sure. But don't quit. Don't ever give up. When you have a child, you're saying, I will be your parent forever. It's a commitment. And when God blesses you with a child, that's the responsibility you get. Now, do you take care of every little thing about them forever and ever? Of course not. Are you always their parent? Yes.